I always felt that I should be reasonable in any room where I'm going to. I can still be the strong man. I can be very assertive the way I want it because it's okay to have a power play. But end of the day, when you walk out of the room, it's never about a deal is never done in the long term if you can't clap with both the hands. I have the self doubts all the time, but I also have this theory that when you're in doubt, you can pause but never stop. You got to keep moving. So therefore, you can say, okay, let me figure out. The moment you get intimidated and stop and say, okay, let me now wait for a couple of months and see how I'm. So then you are losing the plot. So I didn't have this big leap of faith that if Elon Musk is doing 5 jobs at the same time, can't I do at least 2 jobs at the same time? Therefore, can't I build something like that? So therefore, I don't want people to have great examples where people get intimidated this is so difficult to do, I can't do it. Someday, what is right will happen. Therefore, don't do the wrong things today that tomorrow you feel your right is very wrong on you.
Hello everyone and welcome to a special episode of the Story Foundry. Today we are exploring how the timeless hero's journey shows up in the real business, brand and everyday leadership. Our guest, Jaidev Iyer, isn't a poster boy or a startup celebrity, but someone whose story is about perseverance, honest effort, and the kind of everyday grit that so many of us can relate to. Like Tom Hanks in Castaway, Jaidev is still on the raft. No guarantees, just persistence and curiosity. Let's discover what we can learn from his journey and how brands and business leaders just like Jaidev help others face challenges and find their own transformations. Welcome, Jaidev.
Thank you, Ramandeep. Thank you. That was a very generous introduction. So let's hope I can live up to it.
So, my first question to you, Jaidev, is can you share what your early career looked like before you explored prop tech and digital innovation?
Well, it's been almost 24 years of maybe not an illustrious career, but I always have a dilemma that have I had the right resume to show off? But I think what I liked about my journey was that every job was different from the other. I started off coding. I used to be a programmer. So back in the 90s, every time Bram had to be a coder, otherwise you are almost like a social outcast. So therefore I took that journey. It was very interesting. So I was a coder programming in Visual Basic, C++, a very interesting job. But within 3-4 years of doing that, I realized that I don't want to see myself behind the keyboard all the time. I thought I'm building some great software. I should be going out there and selling it and solving people's problems, in terms of selling those software solutions. So I kind of quit my software journey, and at the cusp of when I was doing this, I decided to do my master's in Australia. So I went there for about 4 years time. I worked there. There was a 2-year MBA. I specialized in e-commerce. In fact, when e-commerce was hardly a vocabulary.
Okay.
So I did that, and I think over a period of working in media, entertainment, and then telecom, there were a lot of synergy, but the roles were quite different. I was an operations head for a company. Then I went on to become a business head for internet business. Then I came down to Vodafone, where I was a procurement head for Vodafone. So I think all those roles were different, but having some synergy in it. Then I definitely felt that I was at the right journey where the company culture and the speed of doing work had taken precedence. So I thought that when you're working in large corporate, there are a lot of layers of things to be done in terms of hierarchy, protocol.
Right.
Sometimes a work that happens probably in 10 days time suddenly takes like 2 months time. So it used to kind of frustrate me. I got nothing against those corporate world because the protocols things become a bit slow. But I think at that point my deep respect for speed was very high. So I decided to get onto a startup world. In fact, my last corporate job was with the Times Group, which is a very interesting role of having a brand head on a private equity model. So that role was the most exciting part, where the kind of quality of colleagues I dealt with told me I used to meet a lot of startups who used to come to us for funding from Times Group. So I said, each of this guy is a maverick in his own field. So when so many guys, and I used to be a part of the investment committee every Friday. I said, when I am trying to take decisions on these people, judging them, how good, bad they are, it would be interesting if I can go on the other side of the table and try and present my case study as well. So then the PropTech journey kind of began, where I set up something in Bangalore, which was a co-living startup. And then, yeah, a lot of learnings from there to kind of have control of responsibility of what you're doing and hopefully try and solve a problem, one problem at a time. So that's my.
So problem solver, you mean?
Yeah, I would definitely. In fact, people ask me all the time, what's your core competency? I say problem solver. It could be any problem which I think I can solve, but I don't want to box myself as a brand guy or a digital guy. I think if I can use digital to solve a problem, yes, I'm a digital guy. Sometimes you don't need digital, you can do the regular thing also. And yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah. I think problem solving is one such skill which everybody would want to look at. So I think you did the right thing. How did your time in media and entertainment shape your views on brands, customers, and what makes an experience truly memorable?
Interesting question. Actually, one of the things which I'm still battling is that I believe that lots of brands out there have got a massive budget for acquisition. We have I mean, in the digital world, it's called CPA, cost per acquisition. You allocate budgets for acquiring customer. But on one end of the funnel, you need to acquire customer. It's like pouring a water. So therefore, you may be pouring like 200 customers, but 20 customers keep leaving. Nobody takes care of them. So I always had this dilemma that why there isn't a retention budget. There's a budget to acquire 200 customers, but 20 customers are getting annoyed with you for whatever reasons. That journey. I wasn't able to find a lot of companies out there who respected retention as a model, and there should be somebody who is a custodian of retention. There is no there is a I mean, my one of the first jobs where I did this, which I really appreciated, was way back in Australia, where I used to head a win back team. My job was to win back customers who were working for the bank. I mean, they were customers of the bank. They had taken a home loan with the bank, something went wrong, and they had filed an application for pre-closure of the loan, and my job was to only handle that. And I used to somehow derive immense pleasure in winning back an irate customer. So much so that the customers, when you pick up the call and say you're calling from so and so bank, they outright start abusing you. And my job, surprisingly, I'm not known for my softest temper. I generally can blow my top if say something's go wrong. But in that case, my role was to always, I never ever got angry even if a customer was yelling on top of his voice, because I felt that he has got a reason which I don't know. So I should understand the reason, try and win him back. And that was my role. When I understood that 90% of the calls I made, I was able to win back the customer, because I could understand and that empathy to listen to him. So this question where what brands are doing right, I think that bank had this team called Win Back Team to win back a team, which was, so we were a part. I used to head that team in those days, and there was separately another role where I realized when I was working for Flipkart, I used to ensure that if a customer is unhappy, written a review, I used to actually call them up and figure out what went wrong. Honestly, in the startup you can still do, because you can still, as a founder, a CEO, head of business, I can call up. When you hit scale, suddenly you're doing a million orders and there are 20,000 complaints.
Right.
That number looks small, but 20,000 in its own is a lot of number.
Exactly.
Therefore, I think my job was to ensure that why can't I build a brand where customer complaints are almost zero. Zero is very aspirational, but yeah, I can keep it in check. At least I know, okay, I could not solve this problem because of these reasons.
Right.
Many customers sometimes leave because they have not been heard at all, or somebody is listening to them in the wrong way. So I was personally wanting to build some product out there where customer complaints are really under control. So that was my journey in terms of what brand I would like to build in the startup journey that I was building.
So I think I can truly resonate to what you said, because it is very easy to build a business when you have less customers. But you said that right, that the customer retention is really important, because it's like, otherwise it's like inflow and outflow kind of a thing. If you don't have a skill set or ability to retain the customers, then I mean your business isn't stable. I mean you are not even able to retain the kind of customers you have been serving. So which I feel is really really important, and the way you mentioned about the call thing, and I think this is something, I mean, which everybody should include and imbibe it, because retention is really really important, and I truly agree to what you said. So my next question to you is, what made you notice the gaps or opportunities in the market, especially those that brands or new ventures could address?
I think one we discussed just now, the one of the gaps was attention itself was a big gap. Uh, I think sometimes how reasonable you sound. I always try, and whenever I'm making a proposal, I always want to see if I sit on the other side of the table, does it sound logical? Does it sound reasonable? Because sometimes you have been tutored in such a way during your induction in corporate world that yeah, this is your role, you are part of this company, therefore you have to think about this company only. So therefore you are putting blinkers on to figure out here, when I'm doing this, am I sounding unreasonable? Because if you're sounding unreasonable, then my conviction is very low. uh, Suddenly when you're working for a large telecom, when I was working for the telecom company, our revenue was 42,000 crore or something, $7 billion. And there are a lot of vendors who come to you, probably are not even 25 crores out there. So suddenly they get quite intimidated by, oh, I'm going to go to Vodafone, therefore I need to kind of wait for 1 hour if required. And I used to never like that. I thankfully have always ensured that I'm always on time whenever there are meetings and all. And if I'm running late, then I profoundly apologize. So therefore, that culture of equal treatment is one thing I would say. At least in a lot of B2B business, I ensure that I am big or you are small, doesn't matter. There is a respect to it given to every business. And similarly, when you are doing any other proposal, there is always a power play happening. That who controls the narrative. Because I mean, there is a brilliant story that I think I need to credit Javed Akhtar Saab for this, where he says that we always will know the story of how one catches the fish. But catching a fish is just, everybody knows that it's a nice hobby that people do and go. But you look from fish's point of view, what you're doing is extremely inhuman to the fish. A fork goes into its mouth and then you are using as a trap and bait. But fish don't have vocal cords, so they can't scream only. That's why we have never heard the fish side of the story ever. So we always hear the man's story, but man has got vocal cords. Man is talking. Man is enjoying a hobby called fishing.
Right.
But the fish doesn't ever get to the story only. So if you don't have vocal cords, the fish will never know. Fish is in utter pain when that is happening. So I like that example so much that I mean, though the example was, I think, narrated by Javed Akhtar Saab very recently, but I always felt that I should be reasonable in any room where I'm going to. I can still be the strong man. I can be very assertive the way I want it, because it's okay to have a power play. But end of the day, when you walk out of the room, it's never about, a deal is never done in the long term if you can't clap with both the hands. So I always believe that when you're doing a deal, the other guy also should be equally happy when a deal is done. So those gaps were always there in a negotiation. So I try to imbibe a culture where I make that other guy feel very respected. Even if I'm negotiating very hard, I'll sound reasonable why I'm doing it. And I've ensured that I've always taken care of people who are at the right time. If I'm making more, I mean, there's a profit share always there. If I'm making more money, I'm happy to give more money. But when you're starting out a venture, you always try and do. I worked in an industry where a lot of people wanted money upfront, and I had to say no. Let's not go that way. Let's do a revenue share. You make money, I make money. If you don't make money, I don't make money, and that's why we are partners. The moment you say I want the minimum money or something, you looks like you don't believe in your own product. So therefore, that was one of the gaps where I
Minimum, you said? Minimum.
yeah. So there are many industries work with the. I mean, the whole industry, like a music industry, for example. If you had to start a music, Spotify, for example, starts, they have to pay a minimum amount of revenue to every company. Okay, I'm using your content, therefore so much minimum has to be paid. So when you are funded company, you still can afford to pay because somebody has funded you. For a startup company, starting a music streaming platform is absolutely close to impossible unless you have got deep pockets from your dad's wallet. So therefore you cannot never do it. So therefore I always felt, can you be reasonable and help a startup guy? Okay, I'm happy to help you. Therefore you are building an ecosystem of people. There will be the big daddies like the Spotify's, the Ganas of the music of the world, and there are startup guys who also want to build something like that. You need to nurture both of them so that some of them will thrive tomorrow. If you try and milk everybody for a minimum guarantee, then you will work only with the bigger daddies, and the smaller entrepreneurial community will never get a chance to build a product. So that was one of the things that I felt I had to build in. So that imbibed culture of
The fish,
quality.
yeah, the fish example actually, I mean, and when now you're mentioning, I'm also thinking that actually, how would the fish feel? I mean, when the bait goes inside, and even I never thought like that ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very torturous thing that you see actually. So yeah, you need to empathize from the fish point of view.
Exactly, and the people calling it as a hobby is like, no, I mean, do better, redefine their hobby. Was there any specific spark or situation that motivated you to step out of your comfort zone?
I think the sparks came many a times, but I always felt I had this deep respect for an entrepreneur for the longest time, and I knew that it is not an easy cup of tea. So I think there were every job that you went, when you have hit some kind of a roadblock, when you don't agree with your boss, more often than not, we people say that you don't leave companies, you leave your boss.
Exactly.
So therefore, when you leave your boss, you always feel that इससे अच्छा मैं कर सकता हूँ. I can do better than him because I am whatever. Sometimes it's a ego. Sometimes it is a genuine, some kind of a divine intervention that comes to you that you can do it. But then you feel that "Ki, if I do it, then can I do it on my own? Can I start up a journey? But then you got to pay the bills. You're probably married. You're just having a kid. So that's never a good time.
Yes.
Because getting a salary comfort coming every month is such a good comfort that you feel that ki, okay, let me suck up this time, let me bite the bullet, and maybe some other time I'll do it. So I think this journey happened at least 3-4 times to me where I felt that I should do a startup. There is a better way of doing these things, but I never took the leap of faith. Ki, can I do it? And I did a couple of times, and I would completely blame myself for not succeeding doing it, because I thought that just because you can solve a problem better doesn't mean when you actually walk the talk you can do it better. I may want to. I'm very passionate about cricket, for example, but because I'm passionate about cricket doesn't mean I can play good cricket.
Yes.
So you got to go through the grind, and there is a age time for it. At least in sports, there is age and time, but in entrepreneur also there is a preparation you need to do. So you cannot just have an impulse that, oh, this idea is done wrong, I know how to do it right, and therefore I'll quit and start it. You got to figure out what are the nuts and bolts in that business. That kind of figure out. So one of my advice to the all the kids who want to do this entrepreneurial journey is always try and work for somebody, because you understand both sides of the story. It's okay to start from the day one, start doing a startup, but you get a respect on how corporate works. The brilliant learnings from corporate. I love the way one of my jobs in Vodafone Telecom was so culturally enriching. The way you used to celebrate birthdays and functions and festivals. They used to have a big annual day in the beginning of the of the year and all, where they used to call a lot of celebrities. I mean, I remember one of the celebrity choreographers had come down to choreograph all of us and all. So therefore, they get people together to do things and all. Sometimes startup can't even afford it. So therefore, you cannot do a lot of things. Startup may celebrate a birthday once a month of all people put together because that's the budget you have. But in a corporate world, you can afford to do it for everybody in the company all the time, and in a small way, big way. So therefore, I think there are a lot of things that corporate cushions you for, which is in one way great, but in terms of speed and other things, I think if that is important to you, then you got to build your own firm. So therefore, in my case, I would say that spark happened few times. Twice the spark made me feel that I should do this, which I haven't succeeded. Right now, I'm on the probably one of the third journey where I hopefully will crack it this time, and I'm hoping that I'll kind of cross over and have a story to be proud about. So let's see.
So, was there any time when you doubted your own capabilities?
I still all the time. I still, in fact, I've just come back from a clothing apparel fair, and suddenly I feel that I want to build my own apparel brand. But I just think that there are people out there who are doing a fantastic job, and not just job in terms of scale that they're doing, but even the nitty gritty and the pains that people have invested time. So I went to a place which had 6,000 stalls of people who make the best of Indian clothing apparel. Lots of them for on the wedding side, on the casual jeans, denims, and a lot of them exported and all. And I said, okay, I am taken a baby step towards that direction. But building my own apparel is going to be kind of it's intimidating already, because when I see other people there, I said, if I have to put a stall over here, I need to be at some kind of a credibility.
Okay.
I need to figure out how to do it. So therefore, I have the self doubts all the time, but I also have this theory that when you're in doubt, you can pause but never stop. You got to keep moving. So therefore, you can say, okay, let me figure out. Let me figure out. So the moment you get intimidated and stop and say, okay, let me now wait for a couple of months and see how I'm. So then you are losing the plot. Like some brand says, keep moving, keep walking. You got to keep walking, because you got to figure out that okay, I will slowly progress and see how it goes. And don't. My advice also is that if you decide to conquer a Mount Everest, it's good to have a goal like Mount Everest, but don't get intimidated by how do I climb Mount Everest? You never are going to climb Mount Everest on first day. The first thing is that if you live in the 10th story, can you climb 10th story 10 times? So maybe if you can't climb 10 times, can you climb 3 times? So how many times can you climb the 10 story building? If you can do it 10 times, well, that means you can technically climb 100 stories. And how tall is Mount Everest? Therefore, it is probably a 1,000 story building. So therefore, you kind of break it down into smaller modules.
Yes.
So sometimes strategy is great to have, but strategy, if you look at it, is broken down into bunch of tasks. So if you can break down the task and say, okay, let me just try and do better than yesterday. So that is a
Yeah, just like if you want to run a marathon, so prepare for 200-meter first.
yeah. So and I think Atomic Habits says this very well. I think one of the books that I recommend.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, and I love that book that where he says that you don't, if you try and do 40 push-ups the first day, it's intimidating.
Yes.
Just do one push-up more than yesterday, you will do 300 push-ups by end of the year. That itself is a great journey, and 300 push-ups is not easy at all. And I have tried. My enthusiasm is to do 20 push-ups the first day, and I do 20, 25, and then suddenly I kind of lose steam. But can you do just better than yesterday? And in a very philosophical level, everybody is sometimes competing with your own self, and can you beat yourself than the previous yesterday? Yesterday you had a long sleep of 10 hours. Can you manage with just 9.5 hours? If you're a person who loves the sleep, everybody needs 7 to 8 hours sleep. But can you bring it down so that you can be more productive otherwise? So therefore, that part of the journey is kind of very important, that you kind of, whenever you're in doubt, everybody will be in doubt, you kind of break it down to smaller moments. And I always try and sometimes read a lot of books. I talk to people and understand, and you keep communicate and keep the channel open, that okay, sometimes it's good to be aware that what's happening. Sometimes some business are very, very tough to do. You may be passionate about a business, but I was passionate about a vegan business. I still believe veganism needs to be done more. I personally am a vegetarian, but that industry is such a small niche that sometimes getting a hockey stick effect over there is not going to be easy. So therefore, I was passionate about it, but I didn't do my enough research to understand that vertical is not easy. Many brands have tried to crack that. I think one brand has been, and some of the brands have been endorsed by a lot of celebrities also. But even they have been not been able to make a big dent over there. So do that research to figure out why is it so tough and why will I crack it. What is that abracadabra magic that you have? At the end of the day, nobody has got a magic wand. Everybody needs to do something specifically, continuously, and be at it so that you kind of slowly make that dent.
I think at times it's actually I mean it's like a wake up call for us to see what others are doing in a similar niche. Like you mentioned about this exhibition. I mean when you didn't go there, I mean you were very much comfortable. I mean that whatever you're doing is good. But when you went there, you saw a bigger picture, and then you could see that where I can go from here now. So I mean I think it's like a healthy competition. I mean one should always visualize things from others lens and others perspective, so that gets motivated.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that is the way it should be seen.
Yeah.
So who or what experiences have guided you at critical crossroads in your career?
I think in the last, I think 7, 8 years at least, I've been watching a lot of content thanks to the whole podcast industry. And here we are in another podcast where you kind of figured out people have been very sweet enough to confess a lot of their mistakes and blunders and things they did right, wrong. And I think that right, wrong always has been. I mean, what was wrong some years back is maybe right today.
Right.
But every stage in life, how that right, wrong also changes, and how you approach those problems. So I think Many people out there. I think sometimes we so much underestimate the power of discipline. I personally myself believe that I should be a lot more disciplined than what I am, and I believe I'm more like a sprinter. I like to run a lot of sprints, but as when you're running a company, it is a marathon. So it's not a lot of sprints that you. If you're a consultant, if you're a project manager, then you can do a lot of projects and have bursts of things. But still, discipline sometimes can overshadow talent because some things there's a talented singer out there who sings very well, but if a guy is doing continuous riyaz of music constantly, uh, somewhere that discipline will overshadow talent over a period of time.
Exactly. And to add to this, I think there's a famous this quote that it says कि उससे मत डरो कि जिसने एक चीज को करा है, उससे डरो जिसने उसी सेम चीज को 30 बार करा है या 100 बार करा है. You know, let's say for example, if a person is preparing for boxing, so be fearful of a person who has done that kick 10,000 times, not for a person who is doing various kind of kicks.
I think this is also
Also, I mean, this I'm not able to recall that famous quote.
basketball players. I think had this rigorous training. He said, "Come what may, even if I'm sick like a dog, normally I'll train for 8 hours. If I'm sick like a dog, I'll train for 2 hours." So, and what he told was pure numbers. I mean, when you look at this, he said, "Ki if I train 8 hours, 8 hours into 300 days is like 2400 hours I've already put in. And out of that 30 days, I'm not in the best shape of life. Remove that 30 days also. There also, I'll go sometime." So when you put so much of hours, the guy who needs to beat you needs to put so much hours, or at least half the hours. But I used to always tell myself that nobody out there should be able to put the hours that I have put in. Therefore, let me just turn up. I was told that Tiger Woods, the first thing he does when he wins a cup is the next day he goes to practice. He doesn't celebrate that I have won because he said the winning part is over. So I have been rewarded for that. So forget that chapter. I love that. I don't think I always want to celebrate. I always feel like a mere mortal. मुझे लगता है कि I have worked so hard. Now time for me to go nuts. I know people कि okay today we have. I mean I don't drink personally, but people like to celebrate by drinking, wining, dining, and then 3 days they take off. But people are really focused. They say no. If you're a sports person, if you're a one of my favorite guys is Roger Federer. So I mean he says कि he will go the next day to train. He'll train. He'll say कि okay I have won today. Maybe I will train. I train for 4 hours, but I'll train 2 hours tomorrow at least. I'll not drop the ball because yesterday was a great day. Because life will give you those challenges where you'll go ups and downs. But your training of whatever work you do needs to be constantly on. You can't take it for granted. Oh, I've arrived. I've done this. I've got this cup. I've got this man of the match, or I've got employee of the year. In my case, personally, I believe that I got a lot of rewards early on in doing all the right things. So somewhere I think I must have gotten subconsciously lethargic. That okay, I've got an award. My team got an award. I mean, so therefore I am very good at what I'm doing. Suddenly you suddenly feel that okay, if I'm very good, then I might as well do it easily. But tomorrow is another day. So you got to definitely celebrate, but be back to what you're doing very good. So therefore, I don't know that that answers the question, but that's what I.
Yeah, I think I also believe the same because one should never be in the comfort zone. Even businesses also. If we talk about the businesses also, I mean, if one day you have cracked, good number of customers, then doesn't mean that next day you are going to stop working. So what I believe is, if if you want to build a great business, be always there with the right strategies. So your skill set and strategies should be mind blowing, and for that matter, you need to be creative enough. Every day you need to work on your creativity, your skill set, and so this comes with practice. So it doesn't matter how many customers you are taking, but I mean, how many strategies you're making to decode new customers, to take out something else out of your regular, workforce. So I think this truly relates to the businesses as well as Roger Federer and Tiger Woods and others examples. But yes, in real world, I believe people who are focused, they would never sit and walk away with their fame and glory. So yeah, that answers to the question. So moving forward to the next question, can you share a lesson learned from observing great brands or businesses leaders? maybe even from the everyday person you admire? You already shared. And if you want to share more, you
I
can.
think me and my wife are a big fan, which has been for over, I think, 16, 17 years, is our milkman.
Okay.
I think
Dudwala.
Dudwala, the guy who comes with that. Now he has got I think he's got his own auto now. We get this message at 4:30 a.m. that he has entered our society.
Okay.
Then he has done, and then when we leave for office, we see him winding up and then ending the day. And वो 17 साल से now he's got his, probably he's progressing whatever way. He's still, because it's a very physically intensive job also, by dropping milk, and he still has the luxury of lifts and all, but he's still in great shape because it's a physically grinding job. I just appreciate that operationally he's an entrepreneur himself. He's doing milkman, uska business hai uska, but the way he's disciplined to do it for so many years, it's not funny. So I think the people who are a daily help itself tells you operationally how disciplined. I mean, there are nannies who do it for a living. Why will a nanny want to bring up your child? Yeah, I'm getting paid, but I would rather bring up my child, no? But because I need to have money to bring up my child, I'm bringing up your child as well. So therefore, that kind of beauty that you have in terms of people trying to help your daily life is one set of heroes that I really appreciate, where you have to be operationally on the grind. That is one important part of anybody's journey.
Right.
Be it entrepreneur, whatever. आपको सुबह उठ के आपको आपका P&L चेक करना है, आपको एम्प्लॉय हायर करना है, आपको ये करना है. Maybe an entrepreneur needs to do 7 jobs out there.
Yes.
So one part of operational grind needs to be coming from this community of people, which I love. There is another bunch of people who are, I like a lot of migrant population who come down to Bombay for a job. And when you go to when you go outside a station, no, there is that thela business. There is one guy selling a
Thela business.
idli.
Thela.
So I mean, like the people who are just put up shop, small restaurant out there, who are selling a vada sambar, who are selling dosa, who are selling one upma, and these people are doing great job. And I love to see when you go to a cuff parade, or you go to a posh place where a guy with nice suit, boot, and a tie will come down to the thela wala, and he will pick up one sandwich from there, eat, and go back. So he comes for a 50 rupee sandwich and goes back, and that guy gives a 50 rupee sandwich, a 20 rupees poha. And that community which has come from outside is able to thrive doing all these odd jobs which we think. But I believe that whole migrant population is again ki bhai, you are letting go of your thing. All the guys who come to make taxis over here. I mean, sometimes we make fun of people ki, oh, this guy has come from that part of the world and therefore he is taking our jobs. I said, if you're complaining about a guy who's coming taking a taxi job in Maharashtra, we are doing the same thing when we go to the US.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Therefore, it's double standards. No, if we can't complain on that end, look at what is happening we are doing over here. So I believe we should have a larger thing that migrant population needs to strive much harder. उनके पास जाने के लिए भी कोई है नहीं. I can go back to my mom and cry if they've got a bad day. A migrant population guy, he can't go back to his mom because mom is back in his village. He has told her a dream that I'm going to make it big in Bombay or any tier 1 city you're trying to go. So that is another community of people. And then thanks to podcast, I think some of the entrepreneurs have done a fabulous job. I was a part of Flipkart, so I think the Bansal showed us the way to think big. I didn't have the luxury of talking to Sachin as much as Binny. Binny Bansal was something he was technically my super boss. I loved the way they used to always think scale in everything. It didn't matter whether they have not done it. They thought about scale. So I used to always get intimidated that, okay, I would love to go faster from here to there in a Lamborghini, but you can't build a Lamborghini just like that. But they always thought that if I have to solve this problem, what I need to do. So the way when they were trying to build Flipkart, when things were going right, wrong and all, one key thing was how do you get the delivery right?
Right.
They decided to form that e-cart company, which costed them a bomb in those days, but it was rubbished by a lot of people. They said, well, you are an e-commerce company, just stick to sourcing the right price and sending it through a delivery partner. No, why do you want to build? There is a DHL out there, there is a FedEx out there. If you hire the best guys in the business, there are 20 courier companies out there who are doing this for a living. Can you get into that business and do better than them? Very unlikely. But they said, no, I need to crack this. Therefore, today, thanks to whatever e-cart has done, there is delivery, there is Shadowfax, there are a dozen guys out there who understood that India is going to explode like crazy. and you need people who can do hyper local delivery really quick, fast. DHL is great at getting something from one city A to city B, which are 400 kilometers apart. I need to get something for the next local 30, 40 kilometers, and that is a different ball game altogether. So you need to understand your challenges and say, okay, how to solve this, and therefore, if the world is not solving it, let me solve it.
I mean, just like Flipkart solved that COD thing also. In cash on delivery, पहले नहीं था, and they could solve it. So were you there in Flipkart when this revolution
Really,
entered?
I think I joined Flipkart when cash on delivery already was happening, but I knew that cash on delivery I think happened much before by the Indian Post and other guys, but it never took scale. Nobody promoted it, nobody understood it. But because I think Flipkart was the one who did it at scale, so therefore, full credit to them to think that okay, it has been done by the Post, didn't work very well, so why should I do it? No, but Indian Post is doing it in a different way. I think Sifi used to have something called a Sifi Mall. They used to also do. So Satyam, they had a website very popular in the Y2K era. So, but they used to also do COD. But I think 2008 to 10 is where it kind of took off, and it just paved the way for the entire e-commerce to thrive today. That COD became a way of thinking. It was, if you think it logically, it's not very out of the box to think like that, but to put that in motion and then to implement a software. Initially people used to actually pick up cash, then they said, cash mein people used to complain, chutta nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. Okay, then I will go with the FPOS machine over there. I'll go with a machine which will actually switch, so you can swipe the card there itself also. You can do now with the whole digital transformation of Google Pay and also now people don't come and pick up actually cash with you. They come there with a machine, you can swipe the machine, you can pay by GPay, whatever. So therefore a digital transaction is happening, it is COD is happening on that place without actual cash being transacted, but it is actually the card, because people sometimes don't trust. Sometimes people don't deliver. A new company I don't trust. Amazon, Flipkart, and other guys you will be trusting for a long time. A new guy out there you will not want to trust.
Right.
But that guy can build trust by giving a machine over there, so that the digital journey also continues. At the same time, trust factor is kind of addressed as well.
Yeah. I remember COD revolution taking place, and everybody's like cash on delivery. You'll have to have that cash also at home while delivering the product. And even if you want the product to be back, even then also you need to pay first, and then you have the.
And mind you, this is not easy because cash on delivery also has got its own downside, because I know people order a big double door refrigerator and which is 50,000 rupees, and then they'll say they order cash on delivery because they don't trust the brand, and the guy will go there and they say हमने कल खरीद लिया, your price is higher. Then the guy has come with this whole thing and then he has to go back, and then but the business needs to understand that you need to give leeway for 1% careless, notorious customers if required. But the 90% people are doing the right thing. So therefore, you should accommodate that in your P&L business, that okay, 2% will misuse this benefit of COD. And then you can always put him on the watch list. You can say, sir, so now I have seen people who are doing cash on delivery. I get a call sometimes if it's a high value item or a heavy item. Sir, I'm coming to your place. Do you have the cash ready? So that you're mentally prepared that I don't want to travel all the way.
Right.
Therefore, people are now addressing that also. People can still be notorious, but I think people have learned to address that problem. So COD, to say COD is very easy, but it's got its own downside also. So you got to figure out what all things are happening out there in the industries to see if there's a downside to it, how you will mitigate that, so that tomorrow, because 5 people return the fridge, you can't say now let's stop COD. Right. Okay, high value items I may not do COD, for example. Small low value items I'll still do COD. So you can come with other models so that the commerce engine keeps going and doesn't get stuck because of trust issues. You have to still keep moving forward by putting some new plugs over there and making it work.
Right. So in my last episode, I covered hero's journey, and we decoded hero's journey framework, wherein customer is the hero. So in your perception of the brands, so which brand do you think has done justified by making customer as the hero?
I sometimes feel that it's always hero is the entrepreneur, but sometimes what I believe, customer has got a dire need out there which we don't respect enough, and therefore we just say ki this is unreasonable request. Like what Blinkit and Zepto and all do today sounds ridiculous, that I want a pack of cigarette, or I want that Maggi noodles to come in 2 minutes and whatever. It sounds very unreasonable, but during COVID, I think that was a demand. So therefore, I think Blinkit solved that problem beautifully in 15-20 minutes. I feel that how are they able to do it? I still find it very, very difficult. A hyper local journey where India is fairly chaotic in terms of roads and all.
Exactly.
The fact that you cracked it, and there is already a juggernaut called as Amazon out there who's delivering a fabulous job, who does delivery in like 2 to 4 hours anyway, which is a very good benchmark that what you want. Now you are spoiling the customer because some customers out there said, "Ki, no, 4 hours I can't wait. My son is going for school right now. I am out of eggs. I want egg in 10 minutes because I want to make breakfast for my son."
Yeah. Even I also at times I also order it. I mean, at times, कभी वो आलू खत्म है. You're planning to, suddenly you realize that कि ये बनाना है. So if it is not there in the kitchen, you just have to order it. I mean, अभी बनाना है, आधे घंटे में बनाना है. So then you have no other option.
आधे घंटे बनाना है तो you need to order banana then. That's a bad joke for the day. So yeah, but I think yeah. So I think the customer is sometimes unreasonable, but unreasonable thing gave rise to a business model where the 10-minute delivery suddenly became a norm of the day, and there is a quick commerce right now happening in a big way where you want a lot of things happening in 15-20 minutes, and sometimes I feel that it is. I mean. This, if you look at it, has always been there, but digitally we have cracked it very well. It is there are large format stores called Walmart in the West and all, and there is a 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is called a convenience store. It's never called as a budget store. So whatever, if you want to buy that big Coke bottle, you'll go to this Walmart where you'll get a great deal. But if you want to buy those 400 ml, 600 ml bottles, they will not come cheap. Sometimes the MRP is maybe $4, and you may be paying $4.5 for that. But it's convenient because you got to get down from your house and just go across the road and buy that 7-Eleven, then waiting for going to Walmart, which may be probably 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers away. So what was this Walmart versus 7-Eleven is exactly what is Amazon versus Zepto. They probably saw that this happens in the world. Your Kirana store out there is not necessarily the cheapest one. It's a convenient one. The bread what you get in Kirana store will always be 20 rupees bread, you'll get 20 rupees. But same bread if you go to a D-Mart will always be 18 rupees. Because D-Mart will buy at scale, but D-Mart probably is like 3 kilometers away for you. And going and coming back even in a car or a scooter is going to be more expensive, and then there's a queue in D-Mart. So you put a value to that time and money and say, okay, sometimes your monthly shopping, you'll go to D-Mart, but sometimes you're running out of some dal, something, you will go to the Kirana store.
Yes.
And both have their ecosystem. One is convenient, one is discounting at scale. So you will, a housewife or a family needs to do a bit of both, so that both comfortably thrive that way.
Yeah. In fact, you said it right. Whenever we have to go to, D-Mart, it's like a planned kind of event. And it's like a big list along with that. But whenever you have, for Kriana store, there's nothing to be planned. It's like unplanned, emergency. So both options, I think, works. And both are doing business also.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like win-win situation for them. Can you give me an example of a time when you or your brand played the role of mentor or guide for your customers?
I think I'm not reached that situation till now. I would love to do that very soon. I have generally tried to question. I'm a part of a couple of venture capitalist group, and also therefore I go there when I recently went to one of those gigs where 6 or 7 entrepreneurs came and spoke very well about the product. It always gives me a great kick when I see people who are building things and they've got serious revenue also happening. There was one of the guys who was selling chairs and all, and I was very keen to. He mentioned how he was doing 80 lakhs of sale per month.
Oh, okay.
But I said 80 lakhs of sale is a very good number. And then he was trying to compare himself with the number one brand out there. And I asked him, well, you came for this meeting to meet we were about 50 people out there trying to figure out if you want to invest in this brand. But that guy didn't get a chair to showcase why his chair is better than the other chair. I said, why didn't you get a chair for us to experience? Why will I buy? Because people everywhere, guy over here is a customer for you. So wouldn't you want to kind of showcase that this is a brand one chair which is for 25 grand, and same brand I'm selling at 16, and that guy's got a 2-year warranty, you got a 5-year warranty, what is your sales spiel is. So sometimes I always kind of help people to figure out that your pitch out there, for a lack of better word, needs to be, you have to be shamelessly out there pitching your product.
Exactly.
How much you believe in your product. It doesn't matter I have come here to buy raise 2 crores. Why should I sell a 15,000 rupees chair? If you think like that, because both the ends needs to be done. You have to raise funds also, you have to sell chair also. And especially CEO needs to do at both ends. So I had to kind of politely pull him up that you lost the window of opportunity to, because everybody says the product is good. But you could have demonstrated it is actually good for people to take a leap of faith. Because the product is, many people feel like model to acha hai, but I am not sure whether the chair is really good or not.
Right.
So you had an opportunity to show that, please sit on my chair, please jump on my chair.
He brought that chair?
He did not.
Oh, he did not.
So I felt that. So when you asked me whether I have not helped this company to grow, but I told him was you cannot go to a pitch unless you're going to a jungle where you cannot carry a chair. You should take your chair. Come what may. Maybe you can't take 20 chairs. Take 3 chairs. You have to figure out that I'm coming there with a chair, and therefore I need to present that and ask people to. My chair has got the best some ratio that you may have, comfort ratio, whatever it is, ergonomic or whatever that you want to say.
Yeah.
So I
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
बिकता है and मुझे it kind of peeves me when a lot of people with, in fact he's got revenue to back it up also.
Okay.
Therefore great revenue backup, actually great product, and a venture capitalist who are here to put 5 lakh rupees money. Each of these guys can pick up 5 chairs and probably go home and order online and pick up a chair. I can give them 20% discount. Sir, you're ordering over here, 20% discount I'm going to give it to you. So the window of opportunity to figure out that there's a testimonial based sale happening right now. And I'm happy to give you the sale. Therefore, I have tried to help many such guys during various stages of life where I believe that if there's something fundamentally wrong in early stage in terms of the way they pitch, sometimes people don't know who's the customer. For example, one of the guys came and he was pitching about a great, I think if you wear that t-shirt then and you're playing a sport, it will tell you is your bowling action right?
Okay.
Right bowling action, this apparel diagnostics will tell you is your arm action right and all. But he always assumed that a guy who, all the kids who want to become bowlers are his customers.
Okay.
Then I had to correct him that no, a kid who wants to become better bowler doesn't know to become better bowler. He goes to a coach. So therefore your customer is not the kid, is the tutor who teaches bowling. Because he needs to have this data so that he can tell the guy to. So therefore, you need to be very clear that are you talking to the customer directly so that he can influence. Sometimes the customer is not the end user. Sometimes the customer who is the influencer. अगर मेरे सर ने मुझे बोला है कि सर मुझे ये ऐप टी शर्ट डाल के मुझे उनको अच्छा फीडबैक मिलेगा, therefore it will help them.
Right.
Therefore important for brands to know that who's the end customer, and you can do both. You can influence the end customer also and the influencer also. Influencer in this case is the tutor, is the football coach, for example. You are so football coach, you go and you generally in awe of the football coach. Whatever he says, the football coach will say, okay, I need to know where exactly your kick is going wrong. Therefore, the moment you wear this shoe and this apparel, I'll come to know where is the angle going right, wrong, whatever. Therefore, maybe your penalty kicks are not going right. This is the problem. By just looking at it, you may not be giving objective feedback. But when you have got a data analytics to support it, it becomes a very interesting tool. So I've been having the luxury of talking to a lot of brands that way where I kind of told them this is right, and many people have implemented. But I think I'm far from kind of taking credit for anything that I have done, which is going to be saying, okay, you know what, I did give this advice and that guy did it and he's a unicorn today. So I don't think I've done anything to my credit, but hopefully I'll continue my small tidbits to tell the guy so that he can probably use it for his own benefit. And I don't want him to give me any credit also. It's perfectly okay.
Oh, that's so humble of you. So, my last question to you would be for listeners who see themselves as just ordinary people, not headline makers, what advice do you have on embracing their own business or career journey, one step at a time? One you already told.
So I think one of my reason for me to come for this podcast was to say that sometimes we more often than not give great examples. One of my heroes in business is always guys like Narayan Murthy, who changed the way software worked in the country. And I've seen his podcast and things also where how he struggled. He had to meet the PMO's office and all to import the first computer way back in the early 80s.
Right.
So can you imagine a guy of that caliber is waiting in the I mean, Prime Minister's office to get one computer imported because the rupee there in those days was not fully convertible. You could not pay dollars straight away. You had to go to RBI to take permission, and then that permission, why are you buying it? What are you buying? Just to ensure that you probably are not buying any explosives. So you have to be very, because you want to guard the country, you are stopping a whole nation of very aspiring, talented people by putting so many roadblocks. And that man overcame all that and he built what Infosys is today. So that you got to give it to that credit to that guy. So it is a great example. So Narayana Murthy is great. I don't necessarily agree to whatever Elon Musk does, but his resume of solving problems is outstanding. I don't think any guy will have a resume of what he did. I don't use Apple product myself, but what Steve Jobs has done, 1.0 Apple, then he went to build Pixar when he was asked to leave, then he built 2.0 Apple, and the way he is ruthless about getting what he wants. That's not my style though. But having said that, he has demonstrated whatever, how much ever.
Yeah, he's quite heavy on headlines.
But I don't think these examples are. It's great to read, and I sometimes feel that I like dancing, but I never wanted to become a dancer or ever. But the day I suddenly saw Prabhu Deva once, I said, if this guy is so good, can't I be 5% of this guy? Therefore, my journey to enjoy dancing, and then I ended up choreographing a few dances in my college also, was not to show off that कि मुझे प्रभु देवा बनना है. अरे, there's a Prabhu Deva out there who's doing so well. मुझे उसका 10% ही बनना है मेरे को. So I didn't have this big leap of faith that कि if Elon Musk is doing 5 jobs at the same time, can't I do at least 2 jobs at the same time? Therefore, can't I build something like that? So therefore, I don't want people to have great examples where people get intimidated कि अरे this is so difficult to do, I can't do it. There are lots of daily examples that has happened. So I thankfully had a luxury of meeting Kunal Shah a few times, the person who built Free Charge before then, Cred right now. I mean, even the Bansals and all, these are not people who have got some super intelligence.
Yes.
They just found a problem out there, already being solved in some part of the world. The habit is already there. Can I do a better, effective version of this? Every time you cannot be thinking about going to Mars. You don't have to always have an idea that's going to blow the people's mind. You can have a very simple idea. Like Kunal Shah just bought recharge was always happening at the time. People used to recharge phones, prepaids was a big prepaid used to be 80% in once upon a time, 90% once upon a time. And people used to recharge. He made a product called Free Charge. That free charge means that when you're recharging, I'm going to give equal amount of coupons to you. 100 rupees recharge, 100 rupees free coupons. Free charge. Great brand name, great execution, brilliant scale. And then he got a sweet exit. I think Axis Bank got him for a sweet money, whatever. Now, if you look at it, his credit product, which is right now, again, doesn't change the dynamics of the industry too well. People are already paying credit card bills. People are doing, the habit is already there. If I pay through my platform, can I reward them? There he was rewarding the coupons of free charge. Here is rewarding people with slightly more premium kind of products right now. There he was giving a McDonald's burger coupon free. Here he is giving 2 days fitness free of some other product. So that whole ecosystem, if you look at the same product he has built again, I don't know how many people saw that, but full credit to him that in that product he could not do market segmentation. What he could do, people are charging.
Cult fitness also he was giving.
No, CultFit is one of the freebies that you get. So CultFit wants to acquire customers.
Okay.
Therefore, they will do a trial offer. So he has tied up with CultFit that, okay, can I give you CultFit coupons? Because CultFit wants customers badly. Right. They are happy to give a trial coupon. I'm going to marry that need with my product and say, okay, pay your bills on time, before time. If you paid 10 days before of time, I'm going to give 3 days of cult fitness free for you. If you pay only on the day, maybe you'll get 1 day free. If you don't pay on time, you'll get it. And so you build a healthy habit of disciplined people out there. And within that, you can do segmentation right now where you say that, oh, this guy spends 20,000, this guy spends 1 lakh, this guy spends 2 lakhs. Therefore, the 3 market segmentation, which luxury he didn't have when he tried to build free charge, because most people used to charge 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500 rupees. So the market segmentation was not really out there between a 100 rupee recharge and a 500 rupee recharge customer. They were almost in the same bucket. But now he is going to have the power of data where he'll say, so the creme de la creme of India which uses credit card, he will have that key. Within the creme de la creme, I've got 1 platinum, I've got 1 silver, 1 gold kind of a guy. So tomorrow if a new brand wants to there's a Louis Vuitton, there are other brands, luxury brands which want to come to India. So if you want to come to India, I am the guy to come to because my people have the money in the world. there are people in my system who have got 2 lakh spending every month. So you are the right product. So if you want to buy a luxury car, I am the first guy to come to advertise. So same free charge model adapted to the credit card world right now is doing, and of course the marketing campaigns are awesome. So that way, full credit to Kunal, who also oversees those campaigns to figure out how to make a difference. So I think so. Don't go after something crazy out there. Pick up the normal thing जो आज होता है. So the milkman tried to be automated. I think Country Delight tried to say कि okay, why just milk? जो बंदा दूध पीता है वो तो दही भी खाता होगा, उसको तो ब्रेड भी चाहिए होगा. सो कंट्री सो देयर इज मिल्क बास्केट आउट देयर कि भाई सुबह का मिल्क में क्या चाहिए आपको, रोज का क्या चाहिए आपको, आपको दूध चाहिए, दही चाहिए, आपको सब कुछ दूंगा मैं आपको. सो यू ट्राई एंड फिगर आउट कि ये ऑलरेडी हो रहा है, दैट इज हैपनिंग राइट नाउ, बट आपको याद रखना पड़ता है, आपको जाना पड़ता है. कैन आई गिव यू अ वेरी ग्रेट प्रोडक्ट वेर एवरी नाइट यू कैन से, जैसा आप दूध का थैली बाहर डालते हो, अब रात को ऐप में उसको जस्ट क्लिक करके उसको ऑर्डर कर दो. सो देयर फॉर द होल द मिल्क मैन हैबिट ऑफ जस्ट पुटिंग द मिल्क इज काइंड ऑफ एक्स्ट्रापोलेटेड टू needs of the morning. The needs of the morning is beautifully kind of identified by milk basket to see okay, मुझे तो मैं अभी फ़िलहाल थैली डालती हूँ बाहर, मुझे अभी क्लिक क्लिक करके मुझे बोलना है कि मुझे तो यार टुमारो आई फील लाइक मेकिंग पूरी श्रीखंड, सो कैन आई जस्ट ऑर्डर टुडे श्रीखंड ऑल्सो apart from the milk. So that if you tell the previous guy, the guy is going to, so imagine what Zepto should do this immediately. For technically, Zepto does this with a 10-minute window. If you get a previous night thing, they can easily do it.
Yes.
The 5 a.m. morning, I'm going to deliver the Shrikand for you. Therefore, apart from the milk that you pick up, you will get this cold Shrikand also. So therefore, the idea is to not go after crazy ideas which are very intimidating. Pick up any small idea, and it's okay to not. Some people always like this glamour of, I want to come onto a podcast because I'm a unicorn today. That whole theory to aspire for a unicorn is sometimes being too greedy too early. Therefore, you be happy what you're building better than yesterday. कल आपका बिजनेस था नहीं, आज आपका बिजनेस आपका 10 लाख कर रहा है, कल 20 लाख करेगा. Therefore, you can have your own journey without trying to feel that, oh, you know what, that guy had a 40x growth, I had only 2x growth. Therefore, you try to chase that guy. It is not your journey. It's okay to have a 2x growth, which is also great. In fact, there is a rule of 40 in the business world where can you get a 20% EBITDA and 20% growth every year. That is a very, very, very good story. As long as it's sustained. If you do it for 3 years, no, you're a great brand. 20% profit you're making EBITDA and 20% growth you're having year on year. The rule of 40. That rule of 40 looks like it's very slow, but it's okay. If you're doing every year, no, it's still good enough. You may have a great growth of 200% the first year, but once the numbers become big, 200% will not happen. It will become 30% only. Can you just, the moment you have a first explosive growth for the first 2 years, then just stick on to 2020. 20% profit, 20% growth, you are fine and cruising, and you will still earn your table. I have earned my seat on this podcast without really being a extraordinarily high achiever, but I believe that I have noticed a lot of great things happening out in the world, and you can need to celebrate all of that. I am still a child at heart. When I see planes flying, I must have flown 500 times, but the way a Boeing takes off with so many people, with so much of cargo, it's one of the wonders of the world. So I still celebrate that. Wow, look at the way the plane takes off. It has not ceased to amaze me that, oh, it's a usual thing. Plane flying up, why are you getting excited? I like that excitement of plane. The way a mother delivers a child. If anybody is an atheist out there, try and do this in lab and show it to me. A mother delivering a baby is the wonder of the world. So you try and ensure that you celebrate the small joys that ये भी एक wonder है, ये भी एक wonder है. And fact that you are doing your own small thing is also a brilliant wonder. So celebrate that and part of the journey.
I feel it's not about always the $1,000,000 idea. It's always, in fact, a problem which already existed. And, like a brand like Blinkit solved the existing problem, but shorter time. So I think that completely makes sense, because it's not about solving something which is like out of the box and every time go into a zone where nobody can go. So this is the best thing, and a milk basket example and doodh wala example is perfect, because everybody is everybody is working these days. I mean, in a household, and it's a daily challenge. Every day that milk has to come, then breakfast and everything. And this is something which, Zepto and other brands have solved it. So I could completely relate to this, what you said. And any other example would you like to quote?
It's always also. I mean, I don't want to belittle the great guys things I've done, but I think there is a very important part of having clarity of the problem. Sometimes, why is this problem existing? Because one great example where a business could not do well, I realized I saw a company which was, I don't remember it was My Gate or Apartment Adda. These are the guys who actually have the software for societies and all. So I had met one of the founders that time, and he was Bangalore based. He had come down to Bombay to set up. In Bangalore, he had seen good traction way back in 2015-16. And I remember when he came to Bangalore, Bombay, I was thrilled. I said, "Arey, Bangalore mein to proof of concept ho gaya hai. Now Bombay to you have to just kind of run with it." And he was struggling. I met him. I happened to meet him, and he told me a very weird issue, which was so sad for the business. He had a great business model. He had a great price point, but he said, "Sir, we have introduced this new module, which is for everybody, that getting the society maintenance bill and all is going to be automated right now. So whatever happens, this is the expenditure. We attach an invoice. For this month, we did painting of the building. Therefore, this cost, this cost, this cost, and transparently there is a thing." He said, a lot of society people who are managing society don't want to be transparent. They want to siphon some money and take it out. The moment you put everything out there, then chances of them to siphon some money is reduced.
Oh, okay.
So it just pained me so much that ki itna brilliant product of a guy is not taking off, because some big societies even today like to siphon some money and say, okay, let us take so much, 5 rupees from a customer, 10 rupees from a customer, but 2 rupees I'm going to keep it in my pocket. So I was pleasantly happy when hopefully this has solved today. But that time he took a lot of time to get traction, because Bangalore, because most people are tech guys who come from abroad, who are expat guys. Generally, when you leave the country, you go to another country, when you come back, your integrity quotient is slightly on the higher side. I don't want to generalize that, but when you come back to your country, you want to do the right things. Therefore, a lot of things, especially a tech product, always has a great adoption in Bangalore. Bangalore will try the worst product and the best product and then tell you its verdict. A great product working in Bangalore has got no proof it will work in Gurgaon or some other part. Gurgaon and Delhi is not known for the trust quotient. So therefore, there it takes time for you to build a trust. Bangalore easily trusts. Therefore, every life cycle will be different. So we understand that a product working in one part of the world doesn't mean it's going to work very well on the other part of the world. And such examples are always there in every vertical, that you need to probably do some things a bit different. Like, I am shocked in a very unpleasant way that we back in South, there is this concept called, when you go to the rickshaw fellow, he'll say, how much is the meter? He'll say, okay, it's 100 rupees, but you got to pay 50 bucks more than the meter cost. So if you go to Chennai especially, the lingo says that meter के ऊपर कितना दोगे आप, मतलब मीटर का तो जो देंगे देना है आपको, उसके ऊपर कितना दोगे.
Ask it intentionally.
So, and people don't like that. That's why the whole Uber Ola came, and they disrupted the whole thing, where suddenly all these people used to get more than the meter. Suddenly said कि you can't ask that, because Uber में तो ये price आ गया, यही तुम्हारा price है. But just now I was booking Rapido, and they have introduced a model where say, this is your fare right now, 160. How much do you want to pay more than this to get that right?
The tip, right?
The tip. I said, yeah, this is going back to again school. But they also understood that, as much as I have tried to disturb that model, which is not the right model, where they are asking more than the meter. The whole community has ganged back at them and said, boss, okay, no, I'm not going to go for a ride, because they realize that when I am getting a 200 rupees ride, you are making 20% out of it. So that 20% that you are making, I don't think you deserve it. Therefore, they have forced these guys to pay that so-called tip model, where when you keep 20%, I also need to make extra money to give you the 20%. Therefore, this whole tip model has come right now, which is, I don't think it's there in any part of the world. It's happened only in India, because India mein people like to get more than their share, because they believe, oh, sometimes I get a ride very far, I don't get to come back again. And we are used to going to the rickshaw, paying the right fare in Bombay. But when the rickshaw comes to you, he's coming from a distance. So he's traveling probably 1 kilometer without getting paid for it. So you cannot just calculate the meter just for the ride that you're going for. He has come also for you, and he's going for somewhere, and from there he's going to probably go to the next place. So every time you are paying him more.
Yeah, in fact, I think these days, I mean, especially in Mumbai, when the monsoon season is there, whenever you're ordering something, especially if the person is coming from a far off distance, so at times they mention that a cash on delivery option is not there because of heavy traffic or XYZ reasons. So they purposely take the advance payment first. I mean, even the saloon services of Urban Clap also at times I've faced that they'll take the advance payment because at times people what they do is what they order it and then they cancel it because the person has to travel a lot, travel and that too in rains. So this option I've seen nowadays. I mean, they have cancelled that option of that on delivery. You can't pay. You have to pay advance.
Yeah, so you got to adapt to the continent. You got to adapt to and sometimes you have to change the. I mean, culture sometimes eat strategy for breakfast. That's what they say. You will have a great strategy to solve a problem, but culturally, the people who are part of the ecosystem are not aligned. Your strategy is of no use if it is not aligned with the culture. So the culture of the. I think Goa has been beautiful place, but very notorious with the cabs out there. For the long, I told this to the guys over there. Yeah, I'm okay with you charging premium, but what they charge in Goa is obnoxious. It's not funny how obnoxious it is. But I told them someday, right now, the whole syndicate of that cab fellows are able to ensure that Ola Uber don't come there. But Ola Uber has managed to take care of the right people, and now they're back to the city. Right. And Goa is going to get invaded by these people. And if they don't fix their acts to tomorrow, Ola Uber will be coming to that city. And it is inevitable. Whether they're able to, how far they can hold on is a question.
Exactly.
But someday, what is right will happen. Therefore, don't do the wrong things today that tomorrow you feel your right is very wrong on you. You fix it today only. It's okay to charge a premium because holiday destination things are slightly expensive. What is a 100 rupee ride charge 120? What's a 100 rupee charge if you charge 300? No. Somebody's going to spook in and somebody's going to come there and suddenly he's going to launch at 80 rupees. Then suddenly you don't know what happened. So it's important that you kind of align with the culture and say what is going wrong needs to be kind of plugged in, and technology does it beautifully. Technology does it scalably. So therefore, it's important that you are aligned to the culture of the society and when you're building a product. And sometimes it's good to challenge the status quo also.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Goa is notorious, I'm going to build a product, but I need to figure out that tomorrow there's a backlash. How do I handle it?
Right.
Because the community of taxi union is very strong. So they will do some strikes and this and some vandalism may happen. And I've seen that happening where the notorious rickshaw fellows who are charging a obnoxious premium were completely dismissing. Thankfully, in Mumbai, people were never charging were irrationally ever. But the people who faced a lot of heat were in Pune, in Bangalore, in Chennai, where the rickshaw fellows used to charge obnoxiously. I in fact get extremely patriotic about Mumbai. If some auto fellow asks me money more than the meter, I said, this is one thing that Bombay is very proud about. Please don't spoil it. I want you to always be very conscious about the fact that Bombay is metered auto only. Therefore, anyway, I think we're drifting from the topic, but I want to say that you got sometimes aligned to the culture and therefore be proud about that culture also that you have built.
Yeah, yeah. And culture is one such topic which I would like to actually cover in some of the other episodes. And in fact, the flow has been amazing. I mean, the way you have been, sharing your insights, your value-driven approaches, and your outstanding examples. And in fact, some examples were really good, and some were excellent, I would say. So, thanks for sharing your insights, Jaidev, whether it's Blinkit helping with that last minute kitchen crisis, or Flipkart empowering entrepreneurs, or a common man facing the next big challenge. These stories show us the true impact of guidance, growth, and resilience. Remember, sometimes the most meaningful leadership isn't about bold headlines, it's about small, honest steps, thought through uncertainty with an eye on helping others along the way. Well, it was all about today's episode. Thank you, all of you, for joining on this episode. And if you found these insights valuable, do hit the subscribe button and please do leave your comments in the comments section. And if you would want your hero journey or narrative to be built, do write to us or drop a mail to me at the below address. Until then, let's wait for the next episode of Story Foundry.
Thank you.
Thank you.